All right, so let's talk about something really important, knob and tube wiring. If you're in a big city like New York, San Francisco, Denver, Colorado, I'm going to talk about Portland, Oregon. Why is knob and tube such a big deal, and should it really be replaced? Well, if you think about knob and tube was installed somewhere between 1880 and the 1930s. Did they have refrigerators back then? Did they have dishwashers, ovens, vacuum cleaners, dishwashers, washing machines, dryers, EV chargers? You get the point, right? There wasn't really a need for that stuff. It was mostly, lamps, and you were very luxurious and had outlets in a few rooms and a light switch. That was the big deal. So that's what knob and tube was used for. You fast forward to today, there is a lot of homes, a lot, that have knob and tube wiring. Knob and tube wiring, the way it is connected in your house, it goes, there's a hole drilled in the stud, and the wire passes through the stud, wraps around a porcelain knob, and then continues. It might go up into another room or down to another floor. Um, it's basically a single insulated copper wire, and one is the hot wire, and you have the same thing for a neutral. And they come in contact with wood framing, sometimes insulation. So what often happens is a lot of people will just upgrade the knob and tube wiring inside of their bathroom or their kitchen, right? Because those are the two rooms that most people spend most of their time. You kind of need the kitchen in order to use modern cooking appliances, have GFCIs for safety. Same thing with the bathroom. And they leave the rest of the home. The problem with that we've run into is a lot of real estate agents will call us. People will call us after they've bought their home, before they're looking at selling their home. Maybe they're looking at putting in some new insulation in their place, and they find out that the insulation company won't put new insulation in unless the knob and tube is removed. You, in some cases, cannot get insurance because you have knob and tube in your house. Or when you go to sell your house, the new buyer wants it replaced, or they want a bunch of money off, right? So knob and tube is a huge safety concern. One of the reasons why insulation companies say that they don't install new insulation on top of it is because it can and has been known to cause a fire because it overheats. Oftentimes, knob and tube is connected to a fuse instead of your what you're used to, a circuit breaker, which is designed to trip when it senses any kind of fault or overheating. And that can become a big expensive deal later and down the road. Knob and tube also does not have a ground wire. So oftentimes you will see two prong receptacles in a house that don't have a ground wire. They don't have three prongs, so you can't plug in, something that's got that third prong on it on a cord. That's a big deal. So let's talk about the good things about upgrading. So knob and tube, your resale value is going to go up, obviously. Your home, your electrical in your home is going to operate more efficiently. Your electrical system's not going to struggle to kind of keep up with what's going on. You're going to feel safer. Everything's going to operate the way it's supposed to. You're not going to have to worry about screwing in fuses or frequently resetting breakers. What does it cost? What does it cost to install, to remove knob and tube and install modern wiring? It depends. Why do I say that? Well, oftentimes with knob and tube, the outlets are put in the baseboard of a home. So what we do is we remove the outlet. We also remove the old metal box. We find out where the knob and tube wire is going to. We disconnect it, we cut it, we remove as much of it as we possibly can out of the wall. We'll install a new electrical box, new wiring, and a new outlet. These are all things that are brought up to code. In a lot of cases, if the home is a two-story home, we will have to cut lath and plaster, which is the old version of drywall, to get to those old wires. So that needs to be done so that we're able to make two reasons. We're able to make a channel all the way to the electrical panel, so we've got an easy way to pull in wire. Also, we open it up to make sure we're cutting everything out. There have been several instances where we have found buried junction boxes inside of a wall. You might see your current home might have a newer panel and it might have some newer wiring, but you still have knob and tube. Why is that? Well, somewhere along the way, someone decided to join the old wire with the new wire, and they put it all inside of a junction box. Where is that junction box? Sometimes it's in an attic, sometimes it's buried in a wall. So we take care of all of that stuff. All the devices get updated. Usually light fixtures don't have any supporting boxes to go along with them, so we'll install those as well. That's also a great time to install dimmer switches. If you have some light fixtures, some special light fixtures that you want to put in, that's a great time to do it. Well, what is something like that going to cost? What's the investment for removing knob and tube and installing modern wiring? We typically don't repair drywall, so but we do work with drywallers, and we do have a few recommended companies, and doing it that way will help you to get a better estimate. But typically our projects for knob and tube, because of how expansive it is, it's usually in multiple rooms of a home in an attic, they start at $18,000 and they go up from there. Oftentimes that includes replacing the panel, replacing all of the devices, boxes, wiring that are affected by the knob and tube. And it really depends on how far you want to go, how many additions and changes are you looking to make. So hopefully that gives you a good starting idea of what knob and tube cost, what the investment of knob and tube is. It takes a lot of time. Time-wise, what are we looking at when I say a lot of time? Well, it can be anywhere from 2 weeks to 5 weeks. It really just depends on the size of your home and the amount of knob and tube wiring that you have. I would encourage you to get on our website and use our estimator. It'll help you to give you an idea of what you can expect to pay for knob and tube. It will also ask you specific questions so that you're able to give as much detail as possible so that you have an understanding of what exactly it will cost to replace knob and tube in your part of in your personal house. It is a huge safety thing that once upgraded, you're going to feel way better. You're going to sleep better at night. You just won't have the anxiousness of worrying about the safety of your electrical system. Please give us a call. We would love to assist you with that. My name is Josh. I'm here at Smiley Electric. We'd be happy to help you.